So when we go to solve part B, we're going to go back to our regular function mode. We're not going to be in polar mode. We're going to use x's in place of thetas. Now, when we want to know where an equation equals a number, what have we done historically? Graph it, and we put in a second equation of y equals what? Negative 2. Yeah? Negative 2. This is not going to be anything close to what that graph looks like in polar. It doesn't matter what that graph looks like. What matters is that when I graph it, I am going to be able to find where this graph actually equals negative 2. Okay? Yeah, intersections. That is it.
So
Okay?
type in negative 2 as an equation because that would give you a y equals negative 2. Or is where y
It doesn't
equals
matter
negative 2
anymore.
where x equals negative 2?
In this case, yes. I've made this whole equation. This is my x equals equation now. So we want to know where this equation is equal to an x value of negative 2.
So y turns.
So we just put this in place of y1, and in place of the thetas, we put x's. I wouldn't write this on our page. I'm just doing it for the sake of you now see this. So yes, we're going to solve for where y equals negative 2 now because of that. And what are we solving for? We're solving for x, which is in place of what variable? Theta. So this theta range still applies. So in my calculator now, I only need to find these intersections that fall between 0 and pi. What's 0 to pi really? 3.14, right? So look, there's only really one intersection point, like right in there, that's going to work. That's the only place, 0 to pi, that we're going to get a theta value out that works. So I'm going to ask my calculator to find the intersection here. And mine is somewhere between 2 and 3. And I get 2.7861. Okay. So theta equals 2.7861 when x equals negative 2. But you're using your calculator the best way that you can to solve this. I get that that's like a little bit mind-boggling at this point. I know. But when you think about how we've changed the variables to make it work, it makes more sense. Okay? So then in part C, in the same way, we would just set up a y equals equation. In place of the r, you'd put in theta plus sine of 2 theta times sine of theta, right? For that. I would then enter that into my calculator using x's in place of my thetas. And we want to know the place where y equals 1. This time, this is a y equals equation, so it will feel a little bit more natural than an x equals 1 because we're not switching out the x for a y in our calculator. We're just using the y. But we're going to say where that whole equation equals 1. So in my calculator, I'm going to have y1 equals x plus sine of 2x times sine of x, and we're going to see where that just equals 1. This one feels a little bit less awkward because we're not switching from an x to a y. Okay, but that equation would look completely different because it has sines instead of cosines. Once we get our dr d theta, here's what I would do in my calculator. Okay, if I want to know where this equation is positive, I could very easily use my y equals for this. Okay, so in the same way as in parts B and C, we switched variables, I'm going to go ahead and just enter dr d theta as my y1. And in place of the theta, I am going to put in x's. I'm going to enter it like this. This is not going to be what it would look like in polar, and that's okay. We don't need what it looks like in polar. We just want to know where this is positive, right? So I can go to my y equals. I can clear out whatever I have in here, and I can enter in 1 plus 2 cosine of 2x. We are still graphing theta 0 to pi. So before I graph, I'm even going to go to my window, and I'm going to make my x min 0, and I'm going to make my x max pi. Why did I make my x's that?
Those are the values.
Yeah, and x is replacing theta in this problem, right? So since x has replaced theta, anything I find out about the x's is going to help me solve this. So if I graph that, I can see where this graph is positive now. You're just looking for where this has positive y values. It has positive y values in that section, and it has positive y values in that section, right? And y is replacing dr d theta. So where dr d theta has positive values is where this equation has positive y values. Does that make sense? Yeah? So you can solve for the intersection points and write it as a range of values. Okay? Yeah.
So we like shouldn't do like trig algebra.
You totally could. I showed both on my key. You could have solved that by hand. It is very possible to say, I could set this equation equal to 0 and use your trig solving to find those values. You totally could. And if you did, you would have gotten like pi over 6 and pi over 3s and stuff that normally works.
So how do you, oh, it goes negative in between.
Honestly, showing this is being larger than 0, they would understand you're going to go look in your calculator and see where that is larger than 0. Now, honestly, I think that's a great plan to like make a number line for this, because isn't this what that's recalling is the first derivative info we did back in Unit 3? Yeah, this is my dr d theta. And then I'm going to put on my number line, my intersection points, and I'm going to show that it's plus, minus, plus. That's what we showed in that unit as far as work. That's a great place to show that kind of work. And then use your intersection points from this, 2 point something and 1 point something. What does this say about r? Well, if we're using the Unit 3 material, when dr d theta is positive, what is r? Increasing, right?
Yeah.
Apply your first. So r is increasing means the radius is getting further out.
Okay.
Yep. So like in terms of this picture that we've drawn, now I don't know, it just means that you're on a path where your r is steadily going further away from the pole.
So then,